This episode is brought to you by Auth0. That's auth0.com.
In this episode, we get to speak with host, speaker, and chief marketing officer at Star to Star, a Sangoma company, David Portnowitz.
Thunder!
What are you looking at, nerd? Huh?
Nerds! Get those nerds!
Welcome! I am Frederick Philip Von Weiss, and you are consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do and do tech good. Welcome to the show, everybody. And our sponsor, Auth0, is helping us do just that. Auth0 makes it easy for developers to build a custom, secure, and standard-based unified login by providing authentication and authorization as a service. Try them out now by going to auth0.com. Also, check them out at youtube.com/auth0, twitch.tv/auth0, and avocadolabs.dev for their online meetup events. Thanks again, Auth0. That's auth0.com. Thank you so much, Auth0. Really appreciate you being our exclusive sponsor for this year. So go ahead and start live chatting with us. We'll answer your questions in the order they are received. Additionally, make sure you subscribe to the show at youtube.com/thundernerds and click on that notification bell to get alerts for new videos. And we also have exclusive subscriber giveaways. Now, with that being said, and without any ados being furthered, let's go ahead and welcome our guests. We have speaker, host, bourbon connoisseur, and chief marketing officer at Star to Star, a Sangoma company, David Portnowitz. David, welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on here.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Fred. It is so good to be here with you. I know this has been something we've been trying to schedule for a while. And I got to ask you about Avocado Labs. I'm getting hungry now, maybe for some guacamole.
Yeah, I hear what you mean. I do enjoy the avocado and the guacamole. It's one of my favorite treats. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you being on the show. We've worked together in some capacity now for a pretty long time, and I'm very grateful to have you on the show, my friend. And just thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Yeah, we have a long history, right? I mean, I guess we could go back to, geez, trying to think about it, 2007, 8, I guess it would have been 2008, maybe. Does that sound about right?
That kind of does sound about right, which sounds like a lifetime ago.
Yeah,
really, especially the way the world is changing. Excuse me. Just quick disclaimer: I've been very sick, so you might hear some coughing, sneezing, and other mysterious noises. So forgive me for that. just putting that out there. But David, let's build up a little bit of context about you for our audience. First off, so you are the CMO at Star to Star Communications, a Sangoma company. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, and so we could get a more idea about what you do and who you are.
Absolutely. So I have been at Star to Star now for going on, I guess this will be my 8th year there. I started in 2013 as head of digital. And have worked my way up to the CMO role. I've been in that role now for about 3 years. And previous to that, I worked at IMG Academy, which is, if you're familiar with the sports world, the largest youth training facility in the world, based here in Bradenton, Florida. And I started there right out of college. That was my first job. I've spent 7 or 8 years there doing that. And that's where I met Frederick when he was working at an agency nearby. And so we actually were using the agency, and that's how we sort of crossed paths first. And then I left IMG, and I guess it would have been October of 2013, and started at Star to Star a month later. And about, I don't know, maybe a year later. When did you start there at Star to Star?
I think I started there maybe like 9 months after you, because every time I see the career history on LinkedIn, you're like just a few months ahead of me on the thing. So
yeah,
I think I'm 7. I just got my 7 years. You're 8 years, maybe.
I'll be 8 in November, I think, because I think it was 2013. That makes sense, right? 20. Yeah, we do fast math. So yeah, so and Star
Yeah.
to Star, just for all intents and purposes, is a UCAS company, been around for 15 or 16 years, and was recently acquired by a company called Sangoma that's based in Toronto, Canada. Um, and we're really excited about this merger and coming together with the Sangoma folks, and sort of joining forces. They've got an entire suite of communication as a service products. Obviously, we are a full service UCAS company, and kind of putting our products together. We think we have the largest sort of portfolio in the industry now. So very exciting time. We're going through all those integration pains. If you've been on, if you know, I'm sure many of you have probably experienced, merging with another company, integrating, and it's tough. I mean, there's a lot to sort of to wade through. It's nerve wracking. It's exciting. It's all of those things put together. So we're going through that right now, and that's kind of where we are.
Let me ask you a question. So, as a CMO, what exactly do you do? What is your day to day like for people that might not understand that concept or are interested in maybe having aspirations to become a CMO one day?
Yeah, I think it's a lot. I spend a lot of time talking to the product side, to the sales side, to customer service, trying to understand, where we want to position ourselves in the market, how we want to talk to our customers and our partners, where we want to put the focus, where sales is, where what kind of leads we want to drive, all of those things that we're focused on driving revenue essentially. And then executing from there, right? I mean, like I then go down to my team and say, look, here's what we want to focus. Here's the kind of campaigns we want to run. Here are, the the priorities we have. And I like to run my department in a couple of ways. One, I'm not a very, I'm not a micromanager. I think maybe Frederick can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't try to be a micromanager. Not I know there are times when I have to be a little bit more hands on and try to push things through. I am impatient, I will tell you that. But I also like to run the group as more of an agency, that kind of approach. And we help our partners out, we help our salespeople out, we help the company out. Those are sort of our three main customers if we were to look at the agency model. And we are a lean to yes organization. We want to do what we can do to help. We will go out of our way to be responsive. I do think it's really important if someone sends us an email or someone sends us a note, let's respond to them. Let's make sure we hear, they feel like they're heard. And that goes a long way. And I think marketing for us at Star to Star has been a bit of a differentiator. When the space, the UCAS space, has been getting commoditized, prices have been driving down, partners, their choices have been dwindling as companies merge together. Marketing is an area where we think we can differentiate ourselves in the level of service we provide, and the quality of things we do, and the content we create. All of those things are things I focus on a daily basis. And you're also managing people. So that's something you have to be comfortable with if you want to get into the CMO role. I mean, it is you're dealing with people, and you're dealing with their issues, and you're making sure that they're taken care of, and all of those things are a balancing act. And that's kind of what being a manager is in general, right? I mean, you got people on top of you, you got people below you, and you've got to sort of balance in between. So it definitely makes for interesting days.
Yes, and also you're responsible for your customers as well, and for your partners.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're a partner-led business, and we don't sell anything direct. We sell everything through a reseller or through an IT professional is going to resell our product to to an end user, to a customer. Think about it like a car dealership, right? So when you go to buy a Subaru, you don't go right to Subaru corporate to buy that car, right? There's a Subaru dealer in your area. You go to them, they buy the car from Subaru, they resell it to you at a higher price. There's a markup in there, and they're making the money probably, the upfront, whatever that difference is. There's probably some money in the recurring too, what you're paying on a car,
Mhm.
on a car payment. So those are the kinds of, that's the model that we sort of say. So we've got partners that are local. If you needed, voice service, if you needed security, if you needed virtual desktop, if you needed those kinds of things, you would go to your local IT guy, and say, hey, look, I don't have an IT department, or maybe my IT department can't handle this kind of thing. I need help. So an MSP, or which is a managed service provider, will come in and say, okay, we recommend Star to Star. They can help solve these problems for you, and et cetera, et cetera.
Excellent. Yeah. So
go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't be the person, or you wouldn't be the person I would go to then to say, hey, my tires are low on my Subaru. It's yeah, I would be going to my Subaru dealer.
Yeah. And so, then the Subaru dealer is going to go back to Subaru and say, hey, Subaru, can you help us market these cars? Can you run ads? Can you give us money? Do you have money that we can run local advertisement here? Do you have collateral on these cars that we can put in our dealerships? Do you have a portal we can go to and download all the assets that we need? That's the same kind of thing we do for our partners, right? Our partners are in the field, they're selling, but they need the support, right? They need financial support, they need collateral support, they need content, they need to understand how the products work. They need to be trained on what to say and how to sell the products. So, it is very similar to that. You could think about it like the real estate model as well. If you're a real estate agent for like Coldwell Banker or something like that, where Coldwell Banker is this massive corporate company, but you're a local agent, they're going to provide you with tons of material, tons of content, training, financial support, all of those things. So very similar to those kinds of models. And then for us, from a marketing standpoint, we're charged with helping those partners sell. We're charged with making sure that they have the right materials, that they have the right people to help them. So all of those things are part of what we do on a daily basis.
Excellent. And for full transparency, this episode is sponsored by Subaru. They provided a little bit of cash for the analogies. Thank you, Subaru. Just want to get that out there just in case, all the cards on the table. So David,
I do own a Subaru. I wish they were sponsoring, because then maybe I would get a discount on my Subaru, but yeah.
Do you like your Subaru?
I love my Subaru. So I'm definitely
You're not going to go the Tesla route?
I think I need I need a few more dollars to get to the Tesla route. So,
what do you think? I saw I don't know if the Musk is putting some jokes out there talking about that a Cybertruck might cost $1 million.
I saw
is there
that,
any?
Yeah.
Is there any kind of?
I don't love the look of the Cybertruck. I'm not going to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you.
Sure. Yeah.
Not really my thing. I do. Listen, I do like the what is it? The Y. I think the Y is like sort of their bigger SUV. I would definitely get a Y. My wife would love if I got a Y. She would love the idea of getting an electric car. So
and they're safe too. Very safe cars.
Yeah, they're just just a little bit out of my price range. Just more money than I want to spend on a car, I should say. I guess I'm not the kind of guy. The car, it's not that important to me, I guess I would say.
I think if you balance if you look at a few different factors, like how much it costs, like gas per month, and you factor that into your monthly payments, et cetera, it might balance out in some scenarios. Because of course your insurance goes up a little bit depending on who your agency is. So yeah. But I digress.
I would love to get a Tesla. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I would love to get one. I love the fact that it's just one big computer screen. It's very minimal. I love all that. So I'm in.
Yeah, I'd love to get the Cybertruck. That's definitely my style.
Well, you like a Cybertruck?
I would love the Cybertruck. That is me all day. Me all day, yo.
It looks like I don't know about that. I don't know about that look. It looks so weird.
Again, not you. I'm the target.
Okay. It looks very long. I don't think it would fit in a garage.
I would make it fit. My garage is pretty long. I like it. I would goth it all out. I totally would love that.
All right. Well, I hope you one day get a Cybertruck.
Me too. That's my plan.
I think right now there's one of them. So I don't know.
It's just that one that Jay Leno's driving around.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure he has that in his thing. Well, let's go ahead and get to our main topic. So, David, our main topic is the marketing in the Roaring 20s. Woo! What's some of the dances in the 20s? The
Charleston.
The Charleston. I love the Charleston too.
The arms and your legs kind of like together, like across.
Yeah. I just see like Amy Poehler and like somebody doing that. Like, yeah.
I think Icebergs had a moment there.
Icebergs did have a moment.
Maybe that was before then.
all that stuff could come back. I mean, I do love the cold. You know, one of the things that that I go to in my head right away with the Roaring Twenties here is it's a product of the COVIDs, is the everything to do with coffee and the Industrial Revolution, really. And I promise I'm going somewhere with that. Is that people used to drink alcohol all the time because it was safer than water. And then people started drinking coffee because it was a different kind of beverage that allowed us to not be governed by the sun and the moon, right? We could work late into the day. We could be more productive. And frankly, we weren't drunk as we were trying to get things accomplished. And then in the late 1700s, you know, coffee became very popular, Industrial Revolution, et cetera, et cetera. Then we started having the coffee breaks, and I think in Wisconsin in the late 50s, maybe early 50s, 51-ish, somewhere in Back of the Future with Marty, the coffee break became law, right? And what happened with the coffee break is people started to become more productive. They had a coffee break in the morning and in the afternoon. And I think there's a lot of similarities here, some parallels, if you think about it, with remote work and flexible work. And we're seeing that people started with remote work and flexible work, or rather remote work at the beginning of the pandemic, that people would work a lot more. They would, you know, they wouldn't take a lot of breaks, or they would work way into the night. I think a lot of people have done that. I know I did that. I subscribed to that kind of lifestyle, but they were also happier and more productive and got a lot more done. Do you see any kind of similarities to this moving forward?
Yeah, first off, I don't know what you're talking about. So, like,
excuse me? How did you not catch that?
No, I didn't know where you're going. I didn't know where you're going with the coffee thing, but no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I think, look, when we were home last year, there was less of you didn't have that sort of difference between work and in your home, right? You were working from your house all the time. There was no sort of like break when you left work. You could sort of stop thinking about it, or you could put it behind you and you could go home and you could be with your family. There was less of that, and sort of spilled over into one big blob of work and home and kids and your significant other. Was that it was chaos, right? And as we are getting back into the office a little bit, there's definitely going to be this idea of a hybrid environment, where there is you're home for a little bit, you're at work for a little bit, you're in the office, and I think we're all going to have to get used to that. What does that look like? For example, one of the things that I just was like, I'm so tired of like carrying my monitor and my key and my mouse and this back and forth. So I was like, I'm just going to order a second one for my home. And so the idea of like, you need, sort of needing this and then not having to set up every time you move back and forth, that wasn't something we had to deal with 18 months ago. So, I think there's going to be, a learning curve for a lot of companies. So how to do this right. I think the technology side is going to be very interesting, because I think, everyone was like, oh, we got to get everyone, set up to work from home. They did that. Now, how do you deal with getting everyone working from home and also working from the office at the same time, and balancing that, and dealing with COVID, and dealing with, someone in the office getting sick, and then, people going back home for it. All of this is going to happen. We were fortunate enough in our world where we didn't have to go into the office last year. There are a lot of people who that wasn't the case, the majority of people. So we're a little bit, you and I are a little bit behind that curve. So we're gonna have to figure that out. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
There's a thing I want to read here from what is it, from apollotechnical.com. I'm going to read this quote. Upwork estimates that 1 in 4 Americans and over 26% of the American workforce will be working remotely through 2021. They continue to say. They also estimate that 22% of the workforce, 36.2 million Americans, will work remotely by 2025. So that being said, how do we take advantage of that in a marketing perspective? What do we think?
Well, I think it's probably pretty accurate. I mean, as we see, companies had plans to send people back to the office just this month and had to push those back because of COVID. So, I think it's a rolling kind of calendar. No one knows exactly when that's going to be. How we take advantage of it is one, we have to be more personal, right? We have to understand that people are at home. We have to understand, how they're spending their time. If you look at Gartner, they put out a digital distraction document that I thought was fascinating. That the sort of the top distractions impacting employees' ability to concentrate. And you had this sort of work distractions like emails, unscheduled work related calls, instant messaging, mixed with
Mm.
digital distractions like your personal emails, your text messages, your social media alerts, mixed with personal distractions like housekeeping
Mhm.
responsibilities, caretaking, deliveries, mail, you know, picking up your kids, all those kinds of things. And there's sort of a point where some of these things overlap. But, we have to be cognizant of that. You have to be able if you're trying to get a customer that's working from home, you need to be able to speak to them in their language. Like, what are the things they're dealing with? How do we help them get through the work day when their kids are at school and their significant other is here and they're dealing with, trying to do laundry and clean and all of these things at the same time. So I think it's important that marketers understand those kinds of things. And if you're going to send something to their if you're going to send them a package, don't send it to their work address, find out their home address. Little things like that make a big difference. And I've seen some companies do that well and some companies still struggle with it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think it's
that's
all
interesting.
about understanding the mindset or what the customer is dealing with at the time.
It's interesting you bring that up. Like, so what are besides that? What are some other lessons we've learned from the lack of face to face that we didn't have this deficiency in business that we could empower ourselves to use going into 2022?
Wow, that's a
You
that's
know,
a
oh,
tough
like
question.
like some best practices for the future.
Yeah, I think one, it is, if you're managing people, I think it's being flexible. I think you have to be flexible. I think you have to understand that people are going to work from home sometimes. They're going to come into the office. You can't have this, uh, you know, idea that everyone's just going to be there every day. I think you have to have that. I think you need to be realistic with people. People have been working from home and they like the idea, that they can do that. And I think you need to be realistic that that's going to happen sometimes. Um, and so, to me, those are the kinds of things I think about. From the customer standpoint, what's going to drive them is they're going to be looking for technology that makes it easier for them to go back and forth, to work from anywhere, to have one seamless application that they can do all these things in. They don't want to have to drag a big computer back and forth. They want to be able to boot up quick. They want to be able to get their stuff right away. It's you want to make their life as simple as possible. It's going to help increase their productivity. It's going to make their technology stack easier. These are the things that we're hearing from our customers. They want one vendor for these things. They want to be able to go to one place and get all this stuff. So, that's what's important to our customers.
Yeah, I hear you. When you talk about that kind of stuff, it makes me think about things like desktop as a service, to
Mhm.
where people could utilize some kind of central source for their for that kind of technology, and then to distribute basically machines,
Mhm.
and all that stuff is kind of covered. You don't have to worry about the security of what happens if that laptop gets stolen, or you don't have to worry about having somebody come to your location and loading a bunch of things on their machine.
You
It's
can do it all
it
virtually.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Do you mind just maybe? I know I just put out a statement like that. Do you mind kind of just briefly, with some brevity, just going over what that DAW's solution might be?
Yeah, so I mean, think about it like you want to boot up your computer and you want to be able to have the applications that you use every day. So, like, let's say you're in Salesforce every day, you use Adobe and you use your email. Those are really the only applications you use. So, you have a virtual desktop. So, you boot it up. It looks like a regular computer, but those applications are in the cloud, and it's not taking up your computer hard drive space. You could use a thin client, like if you could use like a Chromebook or a lightweight, tablet or something like that. And the applications are in the cloud; they're secure. If you lose it, like you mentioned, you can just erase it, from wherever you are, and then get a new inexpensive piece of hardware, and load those applications in again. You left off in some place, you were doing emails, you were using Office 365 or whatever the case is, and you want to pick right back up. You can do those things because it's all stored in the cloud. And from a corporate standpoint, it's really nice because I can control what's on the machine. You know, they can't download their own personal email. They can't be checking Facebook. You can kind of monitor those things, and it reduces your costs, right? You don't have to buy everybody a $1,500 MacBook, although we like our nice MacBooks. If you're
Yeah, you could get a Chromebook.
yeah, but you can spend $200 or $300 on a Chromebook, and
Exactly.
you can get the same kind of functionality. Or you can a lot of times you might even just build this with like a Raspberry Pi. 40, $50,
Wow,
hook it
yeah.
up to a monitor and be good to go. So those are the kinds of things you can do in a virtual desktop experience. And we work closely with Citrix, and they're the leader in this space. On the virtual desktop side, and there are multi-billion-dollar large enterprises using virtual desktop. And it became more popular during the pandemic because you had people working from home, and companies wanted to be able to control the applications on the computer, and they wanted to make sure it was secure, and and they want to make it so that you don't have to VPN in. It slows you down. Like, this takes all that away. So it's a very elegant solution for that problem.
Yeah, I would say if anybody wants to learn more about that, they could go to star2star.com/DAAS, DAAS. And we'll put a link to that obviously in the show notes just
You're
to
better at you're
throw.
better at that than me.
Let's go to our next kind of topic on topic here. It is event marketing. One of the
Yeah.
things that I know you very much enjoy for these virtual events. Without these events and these kind of things in 2020, it's what did businesses do, and more importantly, what are the takeaways for empowering the future? We're gonna start to get back to the way things look a little bit. We're going to have some of these events, but we've learned that a lot of times these virtual events, people are either they're halfway there, halfway not. They're either eating
I think if
their
you got
Chinese
halfway,
food or
yeah,
oh
halfway there.
really not even that. I'm being gracious.
Yeah, I think you're being very gracious. I can tell you that.
Well,
Um,
tell me about that. Like, what do you think the results were, and what can we do better moving forward? Obviously, people are starting to get out a little bit. We don't know what the foreseeable future holds, but we'll not jump into that.
yeah. So I think last year with virtual events it was pretty difficult. I think people were overwhelmed with them. It's very hard to do a virtual event while also checking your email and doing work. I think when you're at an event, you can kind of be there. You can kind of monitor your email on a phone. If you need to jump on a quick call, you can do that. But you're not really in the office, right? I mean, your staff kind of knows you're not there. There's not an expectation that you're going to be able to return this email in 2 seconds, or that you're going to be able to jump on this project right away. But when you're at a virtual event, I think some of those barriers are not as clear, right? So there is sort of an expectation that you're doing the virtual event and you're still kind of working at the same time. And it's hard to schedule around. I mean, you really needed to pretend like you were at an event and then clear your calendar and then do that all day. And I think that's hard. It was hard for me. Made up, some other people may have been more successful with it. It was not, for me and for the events that we tried to do and do recruiting in and things like that, they were just not super successful. So, you know, I am looking forward to getting back to in-person events when it's safe. I'm hoping that we can do that
Yes.
this year. And I think that they're not going to be as well attended as they have been in the past. I think that's going to be sort of part of the new normal over the next, I don't know, 12, 24 months. Um, but I think people are also excited to get back out. I know you look at places like Las Vegas and Florida,
Hmm.
which we do a lot of it. There's a lot of people come to Orlando for events, a big convention center. Those places have been pretty crowded. Um,
Yeah.
so I think people, they want to go. They want to be able to travel again. I know if you've, I mean, if you have done any traveling in the past 6 months, you know how hard it is. Flights are expensive, rental cars are hard to get, hotel rooms are expensive again. So people want to get out of the house. But virtual, going back to virtual events, it's not for me. I didn't find anything that really worked.
Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about things like incentivizing with games, contests, quizzes, but it seems like everybody had that same kind of experience where they tried so many different things. But again, it's one of those video fatigues. Like you don't want
Yeah.
to sit in front of the camera or the computer for some kind of event such as this or such as that rather for a 5 hour time period. It's too much.
Yeah, it is absolutely too much. I mean, it's exhausting, right? You just can't do it all day. The Zoom fatigue was a real thing. People experienced it all across the world, really. And it's a lot to sit there and kind of listen. Just to listen to sessions and listen, and that's hard to do. And, it's hard to not get distracted. Go back to that digital distraction thing that I talked about. It's hard to not do laundry at the same time, or you're checking Twitter, or you're texting with your friend, or you're also doing email. Those things all come up, when you're just kind of sitting there, like, you're like, well, I'm just sitting here listening. I could do this at the same. When you start doing those things, you're not really listening anymore, right? You're kind of like half listening, half doing this, a third doing that, fourth, so it becomes very, very difficult to keep anybody's attention for any period of time.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Speaking of that, then, kind of jumping into my next question, which blends blends into what we were just talking about. I wanted to ask you about how you reimagined marketing through all this, and what did you find successful? If we think about demand generation being the top of the funnel, the marketing qualified leads, and the bottom of the funnel being sales qualified leads, like how what exactly did you do in a response once we got a little bit down the line of 2021, and
Yeah.
maybe what kind of takeaways can we apply that's applicable to next year?
Yeah, good question. So I think for us, it was important to sort of double down on digital wherever we could. This was the case for um, a lot of companies, right? You were looking for ways to drive new leads. People were spending a lot of time online. How could you engage with them through SEM, through SEO? How could you engage with them where they are? What the platforms they're using. How do you reach them at home? We did several things where we're mailing something to someone's house. That was not something we used to do. We would send it something to the office, courtesy of their name. And so,
Mhm.
Those kinds of things were important to us. And we also were, we were cognizant that people were, in it was a time of sort of unease, right? So people, they didn't
Yeah.
know what to expect. They didn't know where. So we tried to be very comforting to them. We tried to be there for them, to support them, both financially when needed. We tried to make sure that their needs were taken care of. If they needed something, if someone got sick, God forbid, you just tried to sort of be a good partner.
Yeah.
And then from a driving lead standpoint, I think you really needed to focus on digital. You needed to be socially there. You need to have a presence there. You need to be tapping into that. You needed to be when people were looking for you online, you needed to be there. You needed to look at review sites and have a presence there. You needed to do email marketing, which I think we've certainly jumped the shark there. If we hadn't already 5 years ago, we certainly did last year, with the amount of
Mm.
emails that you would get from companies saying, trying to be a little bit kitschy about, oh yeah, you're at home, yeah, so look, everyone, we all had, like, we all dealt with that. um
Yeah.
but there's only so many levers you can pull, and you had to pull the right one at the right time. And that's it's more, sometimes a little bit marketing is a little bit more of an art. So that's it's balancing that art with that science.
Yeah, that's fair. It's definitely art and numbers and all that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, would you think then that COVID has changed the practice of business as a whole forever? Will marketing ever be the same, or are we just kind of full on focusing on these digital experiences?
No, I think that there have been some areas where you're never going to go back, right? It's never like we talked about events. They're never going to be probably as big as they were before. Just because
Hmm.
people are they don't have to travel, they don't feel that need. I think, like I said, there's going to be a boom. People want to get out of the house, but then it'll probably slowly trend back down. When people get tired of traveling again, and they get in the airport and they're stuck there overnight and their plane's been delayed for no reason, people are going to remember why they didn't want to travel to begin with. Um,
Yeah.
quickly get reminded when you go to an airport and you're like, oh God, I now I know why I didn't want to do this last week.
Uh-huh.
So, um, I think there are some things that will change. I think, digitally, um, the main thing that I think you're going to see going forward is people want to be able to get access to the information, as quickly. I mean, this is already the case, but I think it was doubled down on, like, people don't want to spend a lot of time, you know, on your site looking for a million different things. They come there for a specific reason. They've most likely already done the research, as you'll hear, they've already talked to somebody about your company. They've already looked you up online. They've taught, they've read a review. They come to your site. They want to be able to buy or download, and then they want to go, right? They don't want to spend a lot of time. So I think you have to do a good job of trying to capture their attention right away. You want to provide the right content to them that, that they're happy and they don't feel like you're attacking them, or they don't feel like, you're, you know, dropping in on them and sort of
Hmm.
pouncing on them. That was one thing that you saw a lot of. I didn't even bring this up, but like this whole like LinkedIn pouncing thing where you would, I don't know, I got so many LinkedIn invites and you would get
All the
an
time.
you get an
All the time.
you get an accept, and then 3 seconds later they're pouncing on you with a message, and you're like, dude, I don't even know who you are. Like,
Like 10 paragraphs. Like,
yeah,
hey, good buddy. Like,
yeah,
what? Well, and you instantly regret, like, why did I accept that?
yeah. I have definitely found myself being way more discerning around um LinkedIn invites. I'm like, if I don't know you, or if I don't have like a lot in common with you, I'm definitely not accepting you. And like, it's just it is a it is a cesspool right now to me. And no offense to LinkedIn, but it's hard to navigate. It is it's hard to know when things are posted, like the time. It's really good
Yeah.
for B2B and interacting, but like as someone who just goes on there to see what others are talking about, as someone who, you might be using it for job searching or things like that, it is overwhelming. The amount of pitches you get, and the amount of people trying to sell you something. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to break through there, and it's very hard. The pouncing is really annoying. Like, it's very annoying.
I think it goes back to the old 80-20 rule, which
Yeah.
is, you want to make sure that you're take 80% of your time and use that to provide value, give things back, like podcasts or courses, live streams, or special links that you find will be useful for your audience, things that they find value in. And then take that other 20% and then actually promote your business and talk about the things that you're doing. Otherwise, you just become like a small piece in the mosaic of spam on the wall, and nobody hears you. There's no value in there.
Yeah, you just become a gnat that they want to shoo away.
Yeah, just
Um,
go away.
yeah, go away. And I hope LinkedIn. I'm sure LinkedIn has obviously seen that their open rates are very low on those kind of, like, so I'm sure
Yeah.
that they're working on things to help improve that. Um, but they also will probably like it, right? People are on their site more, people are connecting more. I mean, those are all things LinkedIn wants you to do. Um,
Yeah.
but it does not make for a real grading experience in my mind. I mean, I have a hard time with it. It's just um
Yeah,
it's
even if you're getting, sorry to interject, but even if you're getting like those like those quick spam things like blah 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 blah, if you read it for an extra 10 seconds, well, you stayed on the site a little bit longer, right?
yeah.
You stayed on
Yeah,
their platform.
I think LinkedIn, serves its purpose with job searching, with some networking and people in your community, with with being able to reach out to potential partners or customers, but understanding that it's just one medium for that it's not going to be, the be all end all. Like you can't just say, oh, well, we're just going to do all of our things here on LinkedIn, which I think a lot of companies do. They just kind of like, rely on LinkedIn for finding new customers all the time. And I think you have to just understand how it should be used, and understand that people do not want to spend hours reading your 10 paragraph LinkedIn mail, about your company. I mean, it's just it's pointless. Like be quick, be direct, be connect with them on something. So talk, mention the university that you both went to, or connect, try to bring something to the conversation other than just being annoying.
I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of LinkedIn, what about some other platforms? There's a lot of there's a lot of buzz about these audio only platforms. There's things like Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, Discord, and now
Green
Spotify
Room.
has
Green
Spotify
Room.
Green Room, which
Yeah.
I've downloaded, but I haven't had a chance to actually try it out yet. Now, what do you think about these? Are these going to be the future? I mean, they're definitely the answer to video fatigue. And they're certainly a great way to for a lot of people to just open up without having, quote unquote, to be on the camera for people that don't care for that.
Yeah, I was following Clubhouse pretty closely, and if you noticed that their trends last year, they added a ton of users. They were kind of in beta, for a long time, and then their numbers went kind of plateaued. Right, people were interested in it;
Mm.
they thought it was cool, and then the numbers kind of plateaued. They just recently opened it up to sort of open up anybody. Their numbers went up again, I think, last week, but they were not adding the same number of users that they were back in the middle of the pandemic last year. So I think there's a little bit of interest there. I am keen to see where it goes. I mean, you obviously see companies like Spotify and Twitter, putting money into this, so there's something there for them. I saw Twitter Spaces, um, is allowing their content creators to monetize those things. So you could create,
Yeah.
a Twitter space. You can charge for that exclusive content, which is very cool. I think that's an awesome thing for Twitter to do. Anything
I
that
think
Twitter
Apple's
can
doing that
do.
now too.
Who is Apple?
Apple, yeah, they're going to start doing some exclusive paid podcasts, I believe, podcast
Yeah,
content.
yeah, I did see that too. I think, and Spotify does that as well. Um,
Mm,
so I think anytime these companies are giving their creators opportunities to monetize what they're doing, I think that's great. I'm all for that. The gig economy, I think, is still roaring. People will maybe disagree with me there, but I think people are still doing a lot of freelance work and creating content on the side. Um,
yeah.
and if Apple and Twitter and Spotify are providing opportunity for them to monetize that in any way to do that and make that easier, I think that's great. So I'm absolutely all for that. Now, I think there will come a time when those platforms are, maybe hit their limit. I don't know. We haven't seen it yet. Obviously,
Okay.
I don't know. But I think there's a limit to the sort of audio only spaces. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we're not there yet. But I do think at some point there's going to be, sort of, it's just too many applications. It's like too many things to try to do. Um,
Well, look at TikTok. There's a lot of people that are making money with TikTok. It's really easy to do that. You don't have to do overproduced content because it's more about just being authentic, being
yeah.
yourself, and getting things out there. Look at the ocean spray guy, right? A guy riding the skateboard,
Oh yeah,
drinking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ocean spray. Singing Stevie Nicks or something like
Yeah,
that.
Stevie Nicks.
Like
Yeah,
yeah, look how much interest that generated for Ocean Spray, and that came out of nowhere, and then
yeah,
Ocean Spray like just banked on that, right? So, and that guy became pseudo famous in his own right in that 15 minutes. But there's so many opportunities in these emerging communities and platforms. You'd be crazy not to try to take advantage of it.
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, I think right now you want to strike where the iron's hot. Um,
Hmm.
so I think you want to, be there. And I I'm getting some funny comments here. Um, So, I think there's an opportunity to try to try to take advantage of those while people are using them. But again, now there's Twitter Spaces, and there is a Spotify Green Room, and there is Clubhouse. Where are people actually? It's hard. You just there's one after another, and you're trying to reach those people. That's hard. So
Sorry to chuckle. I'm just looking at Jeremy's comment here about how, for the record, ocean spray is nasty. Thank you for for your clever insight there, Jeremy. Much appreciated.
I don't think I've ever had ocean spray, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I had ocean spray quite a while ago, and yes, you might have to add some simple syrup to that. I'm not a fan of the cranberry juice in general, so that's not my thing. But
I prefer, out of the two things from that video, I prefer Fleetwood Mac over ocean spray.
Yes, I would definitely lean into the Fleetwood Mac over the ocean spray. It's just kind of nasty.
They got a lot of hits.
They did. I mean, I'm sure people went out and tried their nasty drink, and said, "Oh, well, it's good enough for that guy." I don't know how that worked out for them, but apparently,
now that you've ruined your opportunity to ever get ocean spray as a sponsor.
You know what? I think I'm okay with that. Sorry, spray. But speaking of those audio platforms, like we were talking about discussing, Clubhouse, et cetera, audio format and video content are really becoming more of a big thing, right? Because and you see that trend a lot now, because nobody wants to Google things like how to tie a tie, for example, right?
Yeah.
And see a 1,500 word article on it and read it and go, okay, cool. They want things that are easily digestible, and they could consume it, get it like that, and get on with their day, right? So things like short form videos and audio, it's so powerful. Like if you create like a little 3-minute video, and again, talking about that ocean spray guy, that was a 3-minute video, and look at the power that provided.
Yep.
What
Yeah.
do you think about, people getting more into that?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's only going to continue. I'll give you a good example. I bought during the pandemic, I got a Peloton bike, and I started, and the first day I get it, I clip in with my shoes, and then the cleat of my
Nice.
shoe, I didn't have it screwed in all the way, and it got stuck in the thing, right? So I'm like, oh, Nikes. First day I have this thing, and I've already broken it. So, but like, I Google it, I search for what happened, and then boom, Peloton has literally a 1-minute video on, if this happened to you, here's how you get the cleat out. Did it? It was like, so like, I didn't have to read anything. I watched the video. It was quick. It was informative. It showed me exactly what to do and how to get the cleat out. And boom, I was riding. Like, so it was really nice to have that. They answered my question right away. And that kind of thing, I think, is going to become, if it isn't, I mean, it's already super pervasive, but to be able to serve up that kind of content for your customers is super helpful. So, I think that right there, customer has a problem, doesn't need to contact support, isn't tying up your people, isn't driving up your wait times on your support line. You created this video, which probably took you about 20 minutes to create and edit, and boom, you fixed it. So like it's super common. It's only going to become more common.
It's interesting here. Here's an interesting comment from Jeremy again. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Talking about going back to the ocean spray just a little bit, and how how this affects Spotify. That's very interesting. You have any response to this?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the TikTok has huge draw on what songs are popular. I mean, I am not the guy you want to talk to about what's popular on TikTok. That is not an app I have on my phone. I've only recently discovered Instagram Reels, and
oh yeah,
that was fascinating to me. That was like a bad rabbit hole for like 2 weeks. But I have not delved into TikTok. I feel like I need to spend less time on my phone, not more. So I don't think that would be healthy for me. I think
maybe that's not.
If I downloaded TikTok and started watching TikTok videos nonstop, I spend too much time on Twitter as it is.
Maybe you could be more of a content creator mindset. Maybe like It could be a thing where we may need to start looking at TikTok in more of a serious kind of fun way to help
Absolutely.
get things out. It's definitely about putting out. We could do things like marketing tips or sales tips. There's a endless amount of different things you could do depending on who your audience is. That would very much enjoy little things like that you put out. One of the things that I do want to
Hold on,
get.
hold on. Do I have to
Go ahead.
dance? Do I have to like do a little dance while I'm like where you like point to something and then like pops up and then like you point to over here and then it pops like do I have to do like one of those?
Well, they do recommend using a song, a very popular song, and the filters to get your views up. So yeah, I'm gonna say that's mandatory.
All right, well I can dance.
I recommend the Macarena for you.
Oh well. Okay, we'll see what we can do.
I don't know why, but I do. One of the things that I wanted to get to quickly, we don't have to touch on it too fast, but Google localization. I think a lot of people don't understand the power here of having things like a local phone number or a local website and showing up in the SERPs for things that are very local. For example, if you are in Washington D.C. And you're in Atlanta, Georgia, and you search for a lawn company, you're going to get very different results, right? Obviously, but do you mind kind of touching on that and just with some brevity about the power of that and exactly how people could take advantage of Google localization?
For you have to think of Google Maps as a social network. That's the way I would say it. Is Google Maps and Google Maps and Google localization sort of tie right. They're